All right. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Deep Pockets on YouTube for a MLB Opening Day edition. We are so pumped. It's like Christmas for us. Tomorrow is literally one of the best days of the year because we get baseball back and we get it for 6 months. Add on another month for postseason. 7 months of baseball from now until October/November, depending on when that World Series matchup is. We're ready to go. I'm pumped. I know my team's ready to go. I know lots of other teams are ready to go. Mr. Hampton, let me ask you, how are you feeling tonight on opening day eve?
Let me just say this. Anybody who thinks about 6 months, they're a Cubs fan, all right? Because I think about 7 months. This is a 7 month commitment we're signing ourselves up for tomorrow. Let's go Cardinals. I mean, like I said, I'm a little baby, little kid on Christmas Eve right now because tomorrow nothing's getting done except baseball watching. That's the exciting part about tomorrow. So let's
Absolutely.
go.
If you have to work tomorrow, put in a notice, let your boss know you got to go. You got stuff to do. You got to run some errands. You got
Oh, it's
baseball
one
to
of the
watch.
best. It's one of the best traditions is like opening day, all the games are around noonish. Don't you're not getting anything done anyways. So get out there and enjoy it. Watch these games and enjoy it,
Ex-
you know. Bigger
exactly.
bases.
Oh man, I mean, there's so many intriguing things for this year. We got bigger bases. We've got the pitch clock. That's going to be very interesting. We've got
Hmm.
teams playing each other all over the league, which is awesome. We get to
Oh
play
yeah.
every single team in the league, so that's very exciting. And I'm looking forward to watching all of these games, especially with teams that we don't see very often. So we're going to see a lot more teams. As Cardinals fans, we get to see the Mariners. We get to see the Angels more often. We get to see all these teams that we usually don't see year after year. So that's a very awesome added component to the MLB season for 2023.
I mean, think about it tomorrow. I mean, when was the? It's never happened that the Toronto Blue Jays are at the St. Louis Cardinals for a home opener. I mean, that in and of itself is going to be exciting. Very good team. So no, we'll
Oh yeah,
definitely talk more about it
yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure.
That makes it very exciting, and I'm sure it does for the players too. They get to see the experience of how another stadium does it. They have a lot of these players probably have never played at Busch Stadium, and now they get to see opening
Nope.
day in St. Louis. They're in for a treat. I'll just say that.
Yes, they are. One of the best opening days to go to. I mean, I haven't been to many, but Cardinals do it right. They do it well. So I mean, if you haven't gone to it, you got to see it. So they're gonna have a
Yes,
good time tomorrow. Bring out the
absolutely.
Clydesdales. So
I can't wait.
oh
All
yeah,
right,
same here.
well, let's get started. We're going to break down each game. We're not going to go in depth with every single game. We're going to give you what we like the most about each game, even if it's just a lean. We'll give you something about it. But
Mhm.
if it's our favorite, if it's one of our favorite bets, we will mention that. If we say, "Hey, this is a game I really like," I will be placing some money on it. It's going to be one of my best bets of the day. We'll let you know. So don't worry. You won't be confused. We'll tell you what we like the most, and then we'll just tell you what our leans are for each game. We know a lot about these teams. We know a lot about these players. So we're ready. It's opening day. Let's get started. Let's kick it off with the first game of the day. Starts at 1 Eastern. It's between the Braves and the Nationals out of the National League East. Matchup is Max Fried and Patrick Corbin. Yeah, the Braves to me are the better team, obviously. Now,
Yes.
let me say this before I get more into this. It's opening day. It's the first day of baseball. Not every single favorite is going to win, and it's not going to be expected for them to win. So if you think that every single minus 200 and up favorite is going to win on opening day, then you should be in for a rough one because that's not always going to happen. I know favorites win for the most part in baseball throughout the year, but for the opening day, anything can happen. It's the first day of the
Yep.
season. People are excited. Weather is different from when they were in Florida. There's a lot of things to factor into these games. So that's why I take some approaches to it that I'll explain later. But Braves Nationals, yeah, Braves are the better team. Mr. Hampton, I want to ask you first. Do you have any official plays in this game? Do you have any leans on this game?
So I actually have taken the over in this game, and I agree with you 100% in what you said. It's like it can be anybody's game on opening day, right? I've seen teams like teams that just won the World Series. They come in there and they lay a dud, right? And then there's other teams like the Washington Nationals here that could blow the doors off of Atlanta tomorrow. One of the reasons why I have here is I took the over. I'm just not a fan of Corbin. I don't. I mean, he might show up tomorrow, but against when you look at those numbers that Atlanta has against him, they've seen him, they know him from last year. I see the over hitting on this one. Didn't want to take anything on like the run line or money line here, so that's where I was thinking here is light them up and let's get some runs on the board.
Yeah, this price was a little too steep for me. That's why I actually don't have any action on the Braves. I don't have any action on the Nationals. I don't feel comfortable laying an underdog price for Patrick Corbin. I'm in agreement. Patrick Corbin, to me, he's got to prove me absolutely wrong if I'm going to bet him in any game. So I'm staying off a side here. I will say I do like your overplay. I haven't locked in anything with this game, but something I do like is pitchers. I feel like more than anything in the early stages of the MLB season, pitchers sometimes take a while to get going. And that's one of my concerns when backing an under this early in the season, because pitchers are still ramping up. Some of these guys pitched very little innings in spring, and now they're kind of getting into their first real start of the season, and they might be asked to go 5 or 6 innings. Sure, that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it still is their first start. And so I do think that plays a factor into these totals. I personally also lean the over. I don't have any action in this game yet, but I would definitely lean toward the over. Like you said, I don't trust Corbin. That Braves offense is absolutely loaded. And if they get going, if they could have one inning where they score 4 or 5 runs, and you're right there for an overplay. So I like it. I like the overplay with yours, Mr. Hampton. I think sitting at 8 right now is a pretty nice price. And I think I would also go that way if I had. Looks like I'm looking at DraftKings right now. It sits at 8, and it's priced at minus 105. So I would also lean toward the over in this game between Patrick Corbin and Max Fried.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. You just early season, these guys know each other, right? These teams know each other, so I definitely see some runs coming up there. So, yeah. And Nationals are not a great offense. I'm just looking at it right now too. So, but yeah, that's all I have for this game. Very, like you said, I wouldn't take anything else on this. You just don't know what you're going to get, and play it. We'll play on the easier side of things right now.
Okay, awesome. Yep, I like it. So right now, Mr. Hampton is locked in with the over. I actually have that as a lean. I might get to it. We'll see how I feel as I break it down a little bit more in my analysis later. Right now, the next game we're going to move to is between the San Francisco Giants and the New York Yankees. First game in the Bronx. Big expectations for the Yankees this year, as always. It's always World Series or bust for this organization. They always set the ceiling high. They're bringing back Aaron Judge, who signed that crazy deal after his insane season. Does he do it again? Lots of question marks about that. Do they stay healthy? Lots of question marks about that. I think this is an interesting game here because the way I looked at it is Logan Webb is actually a pretty good starter. He's been a pretty solid starter in the league for a couple of years now. And he goes against the Yankees lineup that I'm not high on. If you would have listened to the MLB preview show and a lot of my spaces, I talked about how I don't really like the Yankees this season. And there are some things to like about them, but I just don't like their lineup. I think there's a lot of unproven areas there. Examples, Aaron Hicks is in the lineup, Josh Donaldson, Giancarlo Stanton. Can they keep it consistent for an entire season? I don't know. I don't think so. So I'm actually very close to pulling a money line underdog here, the Giants. I'm considering it. I haven't locked it in, but this is a very strong lean for me right now. Giants money line sits at plus 155. To me, this early in the season, I think this is a good price for the Giants. I know they're going against Garrett Cole. It will be tough, but man, I like the price, plus 155. And another thing that I thought about with this game, San Francisco was not traveling. They didn't have to go back to San Francisco at all. They went straight from spring training to New York for this game. So there was nothing concerning there. They didn't have to go all the way to San Francisco and then travel back to New York. So I do like that. Yeah, this is a strong lean for me right now. I'll see if I get there on it, but Giants plus 155 is really catching my eye. What are your thoughts on this game?
No, I really like that. But my first thought is I agree with you. Cole has typically struggled kind of getting in the beginning parts of a season, right? Because it's that pitching, haven't really pitched a whole bunch. So I could see him struggling here. I do like Logan Webb. He's a very good pitcher. And when you look at also what the Giants have players that have seen Cole, as opposed to the Yankees haven't had many players see Webb. So I like that lane there because you just number one, you're coming out of spring training. You're going to be seeing some new pitching. You're seeing a new, somebody you haven't seen before. May not be an easy experience. So I definitely like that San Francisco lane here, because the Yankees really. I'm not seeing a whole bunch that gets me excited about their offense. So no, I like that lane quite a bit.
Yeah,
Not
tomorrow.
sure where this would go on terms of like over under or like I mean if I take run line on it though.
Yeah, yeah. This is so plus 1.5 is minus 145. To me, that is the books are saying they like the Giants to really keep this close
Yeah.
because one, the price isn't even over 200 for the Yankees with Garrett Cole on the mound, and minus 1.5 for the Yankees is plus 125. So to me, the way they're pricing this game is they're expecting it to be close and be a one-run game, which is why I lean more toward the Giants here at plus money on the money line in the first game of the year. So that's why I like it.
Yeah. And you get that the other thing you have to think about here too is a lot of these home teams, they get all of that home excitement, whereas the Giants, they just have to be there, right? They're there. It's just to them, it's another game. But so that's something to take into account sometimes too. Is like a lot of these teams might be distracted about all the events going on at home.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a great point. Definitely a good point to make about how teams may have a little bit more of a distraction, hosting
Mhm.
everybody, families are there, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it's a good point. One other thing I forgot to mention is, and this is something I always will look at when I'm betting on a game, is look at the weather. It's a little
Yeah.
thing, but it's an important thing to do, especially in baseball. If it's an outdoor stadium like the Bronx, New York is, Yankee Stadium, you have to look at the weather. You have to see the forecast. Is there going to be rain? What's the wind looking like? There's a lot of websites that you can find good information about with the wind, with the rain, and all the weather details. So I'm looking at the Bronx right now. It looks like it's going to be a solid day, sunny with a little bit of clouds, wind at 14 miles an hour. So nothing to push me away from betting this game because of the weather. So I do like that. It's not going to be anything crazy. No rain in the forecast, which I like.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's a good thing to look at too. And the MLB app doesn't really tell you the weather, which I don't see. So, which is
Yeah,
sad.
I don't see that
Which
either.
yeah, but very good thing here. We're giving people a lot to think about here as they begin to
Yep,
gamble
for
or
sure.
bet. All
All right.
righty.
So good stuff there. Yeah, Giants are a strong lean right now at plus 155 for me. We'll see if I get there with it. If I do, and if I do, I'll post it on our page on Deep Pockets. You'll be able to see it on there.
I like that lean
Okay,
though. That's a good early lean to start the day.
let's move to the next game. This one is between two other teams in the American League East, the Baltimore Orioles, the up and coming Baltimore Orioles, who had a very strong season last year with all their young talent. They're going to the Red Sox up in Fenway. This is an interesting game to me, but I'll ask you first, Mr. Hampton. Any thoughts on this game? Any leans? Any picks?
So I do have a couple a lean here. And this is kind of just off of the beginning of today. So what I have here is the first inning. I'm going to take the total first inning over zero point 0.5 runs. So uh, yes, that there's going to be runs scored. And why I'm saying that is because I look at Gibson and Kluber, both kind of older, aged pitchers. You know, I think people. So I think these teams can get to them, right, and have a good time with them. And then I also have here kind of I see runs being scored, but I also kind of see it being a little bit. I've taken the under first five. Not that's kind of like a low take on that, but really those are the main things I have on this. Is yes, first run on the first inning, and then kind of the first five under. So is what I have so far.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one that I think I'm gonna get to. I actually like the Baltimore Orioles here to win this game outright. They're
Yeah.
also a underdog at plus 105 in this game.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I told you guys I'm not high on Boston this year. This isn't a series that is going to break them, of course. But man, Corey Kluber, I just don't trust that guy. I think he's very capable of getting hit hard. And this is
yeah.
a Baltimore lineup who's very familiar with him. If you look at some of the numbers
Yeah.
against him, there's a lot of experience. Anthony Santander out of 17 at
400
bats,
average.
400
Yeah.
average. Yes. Cedric Mullins in 23 at bats has a 348 average. Just going down the list here. Mateo, he's not a lot of at bats, 12 at bats with a 333 average. And then Urias, 462 average and 13 at bats. So there's a lot of experience here against Corey Kluber. And that's what I really like in this game is a team who's familiar with pitcher. So that's my pick. I'm actually going to play this game tomorrow, the Baltimore Orioles at plus 105 on the money line. I think they have a shot to get the outright win. I think Boston has the weaker bullpen of the two. And this to me is a matchup between the starting pitchers who it could go either way. You know, Boston could hit Gibson well, but I think the Baltimore Orioles could easily respond and hit Kluber well too. So I've got Baltimore here. This is one of my plays of the day on opening day.
Yeah, and I definitely think that the Baltimore offense or Baltimore defense is more, I mean, more in tune and capable of kind of helping Gibson out here. But yeah, I don't trust Kluber. I don't even really know how he did during spring training. Didn't even want to touch him in fantasy because it's just that age. And I mean, last year he did all right, but he's prone to giving up runs, and so I definitely like that lean there. What was the run line on that too? Kind of
Yeah.
help paint that picture
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah. Run line plus 1.5 for Baltimore is minus 180.
Yeah. See, they're thinking that. I mean, you look at that. I definitely like that lean with Baltimore for sure.
Yep.
You're getting plus odds on that. I mean, not great plus odds, but I mean, they're capable of winning this. Yeah.
Yes. So that is something I like tomorrow, and it will be an official play. So everyone knows that is an official play for me. The Baltimore Orioles on the money line, plus 105, or of course, whatever your book is offering. That is what I like to start off opening day.
And I think the weather is going to be about the same as New York, right? On that one, I don't see anything being too crazy there.
I'm seeing the same weather. Yeah, same as New York. About 40 something degrees, sunny. Nothing in no precipitation or anything. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. All righty.
Okay. Good stuff on that game. Let's move on to the next. Let's go to Brewers Cubs, first game in the National League Central. These two teams typically play each other in the opening weekend. It seems to be a tradition now for the two teams. Brewers Cubs, I think this will be an interesting game. Corbin Burns against Marcus Stroman in the matchup. Mr. Hampton, what are your thoughts on this game? Any leans, any picks?
So, I mean, this is like you said. These teams typically have played each other. It's at Wrigley Field. I kind of like the Cubs here on this one. I mean, yes, Corbin Burns is good, but when I look at kind of those averages and those at bats that the Cubs have against him, I think they're decent numbers, right? And so at home, I could see them giving him a hard time and potentially winning this. I feel like I took something on this. Give me a second, but yeah, I also like Stroman as a pitcher here to kind of keep things, kind of keep that what dangers are that there on the Milwaukee Brewers offense in line, right? All you have to really do is Willie Adames, Torres. There's nothing else there that's too scary. So I just like those averages I'm seeing. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is a lot closer as well. Corbin Burns, obviously the better pitcher of the two, but Corbin Burns, the Cubs have seen Corbin Burns a lot. As you mentioned, a lot of players in this lineup for the Cubs have experience playing him. Ian Happ has 19 at-bats against him. Eric Hosmer, who's the new addition to their team, has 12 at-bats with a 333 average. Dansby Swanson, 9 at-bats, 556 average, and 2 home runs. So there are some players in this lineup who are familiar with Corbin Burns. I think this is
Yeah.
actually closer too. I would lean more toward the Cubs. I don't have anything official yet, but if I had to make a play, I would go Cubs money line plus 120. Like I said, I'm looking at prices here. I'm looking at
Yes.
where I can find some value, and I feel like that's a good play with the dog play here with the plus 120. I think these two teams are pretty even, and with if Corbin Burns leaves the game and it's close, if it's a 1-run game, 2-run game, this can go either way. I mean, the Cubs do have a good bullpen, and I don't think the Brewers bullpen's anything spectacular. So I lean the Cubs here right now.
Yeah, I definitely like that too. I don't know the Wrigley Field weather. I'm guessing it's going to be a little bit chilly still up there, like in the like low 60s and all that. So we'll be a little bit chilly. But yeah, I just look at that. You look at Hap, Horner, Hosmer. I mean Suzuki and Swanson. You just those guys right there. Far more offensive capabilities and better numbers than anything you see on what the Brewers are bringing to the table right now. And so, yeah, I'm the Brewers. That lineup does not look tasty at all. That's gross.
No, no kidding. I just don't like it. I don't think it's anything special, and that's why I like the value here with the Cubs at plus 120. So I might play it, but right now it's just a lean for me. We'll see if I can
Yeah,
get to it tomorrow when I see lineups posted.
I like that. I mean, they're giving you plus odds here again. I mean, I'll take that value every day. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see this Cubs lineup. I mean, like we said, they made additions with Cody Bellinger. We saw Trey Mancini,
let's see any
Dansby Swanson.
Hosmer.
There's a lot of new pieces to this team, so it will be interesting to see how they look in the early part of the season.
Mm-hmm. And then that Seiya Suzuki, I mean, the second year in the major leagues, does he start to hit a little bit more here? But maybe we'll see that a little bit tomorrow. Plus,
Yep.
again, it's the little league Wrigley Field. So I don't know what the over is on that, but I mean, if the wind's blowing out, you might as well take that over.
7.5 we have the line currently at.
That's a little
Yep.
low.
Yep.
Interesting. All right.
All right, let's move on to the
Yeah.
next one. The next game we have is a big favorite, the Tampa Bay Rays at minus 230 against the Detroit Tigers. Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound for the Tigers, Shane McClanahan on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, this will probably be a game I stay off completely. I don't want to pay the price. I don't like the Tigers. The Rays are the better team. I would lean more toward the Rays here. Run line looks to be minus 1.5 at minus 105. And the over-under sits at 6.5. I would probably lean more toward an underplay if I had to make anything on this game, just because I think the Tigers will struggle against McClanahan. And the Rays offense is solid, but is it really that great? I don't know. So, yeah, I would probably lean toward the under in this game. But do you have any thoughts on the Tigers and Rays, Mr. Hampton?
So I actually took Tampa Bay minus 2.5 on the run line on this one. This is probably a little bit more one of my more risky bets here, but it's really based off of the pitching here. Rodriguez, he's capable of good games, but against McClanahan, he's a far better pitcher. And I look at this Detroit offense, and they haven't seen this guy a lot. They don't have really good numbers against him, as opposed to the other side doing that. And again, I'm just using numbers right now based off of last season. Right now is an early precursor for this, but you have to look at those things and see. Hey, I mean, they have some good at bats against Rodriguez here, and so I could see, and it's at home in a dome. I can see some runs being scored here and building enough lead there for that minus 2.5 run line.
I like it. So you did a little alternate run line. What did you get the odds at for that?
Give me 1 second. I'll tell you here.
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone went off. So I got it at plus 179. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I just think that they can build enough of a lead on this, and it could be very well be a low scoring game. But you just look. I think that the Tampa Bay not only has good starting pitching, they have that good back end pitching too.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can really do well on this game here.
Yeah, I just don't see anything enough to back the Tigers here. Like you said, good starting pitching, usually a good bullpen, and if they can get out to a lead, I think that's gonna bode well for them. So I like your play. I like your alternate line 2.5 for the Tampa Bay Rays. You can get some very good plus money
Yeah.
at that if you back the Rays at -2.5. So nice little play there.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see how it turns out, though. I mean, I might be biting off a little more than I can chew, but you just look at the numbers against Rodriguez, and you go, it could be a tough day tomorrow
Oh
for
yeah,
him.
definitely. I could see that. I mean, he was a former Red Sox, so he was in that division for a while. So you do know Tampa Bay is pretty familiar with him from the time he played in the American League East. So definitely got to like that when you look into things a little bit more.
Oh yeah. Let me just look at that team. Jeez. There's half of the Detroit team. I don't even know their last names. I don't even know this.
Yeah, I'm not high on Detroit this year, man. There's a lot. I mean, there's some young guys who have potential, but I just don't think it's enough for them to be consistent and competitive in the league. And the pitching's not good either. Besides Eduardo Rodriguez, I don't think there's really a starter in that rotation worth anything. So,
well, I mean, what is it? Mize and what's his face from last year? Scooball are both out anyway. So yeah, it's going to be a rough go. I mean, is this Miguel Cabrera's last year too? Jeez.
I don't know if he's officially announced it, but I would imagine it's coming up. I mean, the guy's been in the league forever, and I think it's time to hang it up soon.
Yeah, I was a little kid when he was winning World Series. That's how
it's crazy.
Been.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah, so I definitely, I mean, I don't see any value on the money line on this, but if you wanted to tempt it, I'd try that alternate run line. Hopefully, we'll see that if that hits.
All right, awesome stuff there. Let's go to the next game. This is one of the toughest ones of the day to me. Phillies and Rangers. I think this one's really tough because you got two really good pitchers, and I think Phillies probably had the lean at the offensive side, but the Rangers do have some pieces in the lineup who could be good. Yeah, this one's tough to me. I see the Rangers are currently sitting at -135 with the Phillies getting plus money at 115, over under at 6.5. And keep in mind, the Phillies are pretty familiar with Jacob deGrom. As we all know, deGrom played for the Yankees all those years. And so the Phillies know a lot about deGrom, which makes me want to take Philly, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this one? I lean toward Philly, but I don't have an official play here. What do you think, Mr. Hampton?
So this is kind of the way I look at this. This is kind of the beginning of some really good pitching matchups on tomorrow, and I would agree with you. This is a very, very hard take in terms of like, hey, who's gonna win it. I agree. I love the fact that you put out there that the Phillies have seen deGrom before, right? I mean, they've seen him all through last year when he wasn't injured. I don't know. I think this might be one where I sit back and watch it because it's two really good pitchers. I mean, one potentially an NL, Cy Young candidate, another an AL candidate. But if I had to take a lane, I definitely would go over experience on this one as opposed to the Rangers at this moment. I think that there's a lot of the continuity. Yeah, I don't think that team has really come together to play really well, right? And this is their first game. A lot of them coming in there, a lot of new faces. So we'll see.
Yeah. To me, it's I'm not big on the Rangers this year. That's my thing. The Rangers to me are a team who has two good hitters in the lineup, and you could argue they're not always the most consistent in Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, but I don't know, man. I don't love the rest of their lineup. If you look more toward the bottom of it, I'm not high on that lineup. And so, yeah, I lean more toward the Phillies here, but I think I'm in agreement with you. I'll probably sit back and watch this game as more of like just to enjoy it on opening day. Two good pitchers. battle it out, and then who knows what offense sticks up tomorrow and pulls out a W for them. So I'm in agreement there.
Yeah. All right. And this is, I mean, at Texas in Globe Life in a dome. I mean, we've been there before. I think balls can fly out of there if they're hit. I mean, if the pitchers are putting them where you can hit them. But yeah, I just look at it outside of those two. I mean, Garver, Grossman, Heim, Jung. I mean, none of those names to me sound like they're going to have a good time against NOLA tomorrow. So maybe look at some of the player props, and if you wanted to get excited about that in terms of strikeouts for both DeGrom and NOLA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good game, though. I think that's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that'll be a really good game. I'm looking forward to. All right, let's move to the next one. Let's move to another National League Central matchup between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds. Not the greatest matchup. These are two teams who are projected to be the worst in baseball, especially in the Central Division. And we've got Cincinnati priced at -140 with Pittsburgh priced at +120. Hunter Green versus Mitch Keller. Yeah, this is another game where I'm kind of laying off. It's two bad teams. I don't know if I'll ever want to back the Reds at -140. I don't care who's pitching for them. I know Hunter Green is supposed to be good. It's a young pitcher. He's up and coming, all that. But -140 for the Reds on opening day, I can't do it. I'm laying off of this game completely. If I had to make a play, maybe I would play let me see the over-under here. Over-under sits at 8. Maybe the under has a little value. It looks like it's plus money, plus even money, actually. Sorry. But then you worry about bullpens here. These are two teams who will not have strong bullpens, and that gives you some concern. So, yeah, this is a complete stay away for me. I don't even have a real strong lean. I think this totally stay off this game for me.
I mean, the pitching matchup in and of itself isn't that tantalizing. I mean, if Hunter Green has his command, which I didn't even watch this guy during spring training, have no clue. But he has the heat, but without the command, he's just as bad as Mitch Keller. So, I wouldn't take that game. I wouldn't even watch that game tomorrow unless something's happening. So, yeah, save yourself some money. There's a lot of season ahead. Don't even try and bet this game, I would say.
And that's the thing. You got to be smart with these kind of games. Like, you can't just bet games just to bet. Like, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh should be a total stay away. Unless you find something that's absolutely incredible value and you think it's worth a shot, then go for it. But, yeah, I got nothing in this game. I'm staying away from it. There's better games to watch. There's better games to bet. And so I will not be wasting my money on these two teams who I believe are some of the worst in baseball, and especially in the National League.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is the stay away game of the day. I do not even watch it.
Yeah. No, thank you.
No.
All right, let's move on to another very intriguing game, one of the best of the day, in my opinion, two really good teams who I expect to win their division. I have two division winning bets for both of these teams. Really good offenses, solid pitching. Blue Jays Cardinals in St. Louis, opening day. We know a lot about that. This to me is also tough, though, because I like both teams a lot. I think both offenses are good. Over-under sits at 7.5. This is probably one of the closest on the day in terms of like money lines. You got money line for Toronto at 115 and the Cardinals at -105. There's not really any other games that I see out there that are that close in terms of the pricing. So
yeah,
this is another game that I probably just sit back and watch and enjoy because I don't really have a strong feel for either side right now. Should be a good pitching matchup. Alek Manoah against Miles Mikolas. Miles Mikolas coming off a very strong season. Alek Manoah as well, the top pitcher for Toronto. I might look I like both offenses, so it does give me a little concern here. But if I had to make a play, maybe lean toward an under, because I know in St. Louis, especially Busch Stadium, unders seem to happen more. We don't see as many runs and high-scoring games with the way that ballpark is built. I don't know the reasons why, but I got nothing here. I think I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it for the most part. But what about you, Mr. Hampton? Do you have any action on this game?
I do not, and I agree with you here because another decent pitching matchup because my only concern is Miles Mikolas because these teams, some players have gotten to see him, right? And they have, I mean, like Brandon Belt has seen him about 5 times. So there is some small numbers, but they've seen him and done all right. Yeah, I would kind of, the weather is going to be really nice tomorrow. I think it's going to be up in the mid to high 60s here in St. Louis, opening day. Yeah, I think this is one of those you sit back and watch because yeah, I mean both are really good, could be really really fun offenses if they can get to the pitching, which may or may not happen with Nicholas. So, um, yeah, this is a very tough one because it's so close, and we're both Cardinals fans, so it's hard for us to, you know. I mean, I'd want to be a homer for this team on this game, but I Alec Manoah is pretty damn good too. I've seen that guy put some people away. I like his attitude too. So,
Oh yeah, he's a good pitcher. He's tough, and that Toronto lineup is really good and deep too. So yeah, Vlad
I
Guerrero
also want to
Jr.,
see.
Bichette.
Yeah, I want to see what we put out there as our lineup. I haven't seen an official lineup too. So, because I mean, if we got Arenado, Goldie, Contreras, and if Jordan Walker starts tomorrow, Gore, you could potentially throw Gorman and throw somebody in there. That could be a fun. That could be a fun offense to watch tomorrow, along with what Toronto's bringing to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would think if you're going to bet this game, wait until you see the lineups. So that's kind of where I would say here, if you're really wanting to try and take something here.
For sure. I agree. I think this is going to be two teams with good lineups. I saw someone, can't remember the person to credit who they where they got their model from, but there was someone I was watching the other day who said they had their models were projecting the Cardinals to be the second best offense in baseball this season, which I thought was very interesting.
Wow.
So if we can get to that point, if they can be the second best team offensively in baseball, I think that will be a very fun season in St. Louis and
Yeah.
very tough team.
And that's saying something. I mean, I'd like to know who that person is because Busch Stadium, not a very big offensive ballpark, right? And so typically caters very well to pitching. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I definitely would like to see that. And if that happens, that'd be absolutely awesome as a Cardinals fan. But, I also think tomorrow, it could be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm just looking at these players right now. I mean, Newt Bar could be out there tomorrow. O'Neill,
You, you
Walker.
you said you weren't sure about the lineup. I did see today that Jordan Walker is confirmed in the lineup, so that's good. Did you see that?
Yes, I did not see that. So
Yeah,
that right there, I mean, that should be fun right there. I wonder if there's like some play. I might take a little player prop. I want to see that guy hit a homer tomorrow. We'll see if
that'd be
to
awesome.
hit a homer. Yeah,
Really cool. So
yeah.
he's
But
he's
outside of that, like you said, probably run line, money line, or over. Not much there that I would probably want to touch right now.
and also confirmed in the lineup will be Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt. So
Wow, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, what are you gonna
as
do? Sit Nolan Arenado during the opening
yeah,
day? Yeah, yeah. The only person that could be a threat to not make the game is O'Neill because he'll probably hurt himself lifting a weight or something.
yeah, that guy's always hurt. You never know what you never know what's going to happen with him. It sucks.
No, great. I
Uh,
think it's so exciting that we're actually playing an AL team to open the season. That's get get something exciting out there, and it's the
yeah.
first like home opener we've had to start the season here in St. Louis, I think, in a while. So,
Yes, it is nice. I agree. So,
well,
all right,
wonderful. All right.
let's move to the next game. This is a American League Central matchup between the Minnesota Twins and the Kansas City Royals. Pablo Lopez, the new addition to the team, against Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke is still pitching. He's back on a 1-year contract with the Royals, the team he started with. I think this is a interesting game as well. I lean more toward Minnesota right now. That is one of my leans. I don't have an official pick with them yet, but I like Pablo Lopez, and I think he can do enough to limit Kansas City. And Zach Greinke, I didn't love the year he had last year. He was a very pitch to contact. He wasn't a strikeout pitcher. He's lost a lot on his velocity, as expected. He's up there in age for a pitcher. So I do lean toward Minnesota here. I don't love them completely as a team. I think there's a lot of question marks around their offense, like Correa, Buxton. Can they stay healthy? They've got Joey Gallo leading off, which gives me lots of concerns. So I do like Minnesota tomorrow as a lean because of Pablo Lopez, and I think he can limit Kansas City a lot. But I don't know if I'll get there with them. There's a lot of question marks around Minnesota, and I don't really love the price. You have to pay minus 155 for them on the money line. I don't really love that. So if I were to – here's the thing. I would take a different approach to it. If I were to play this game, I would look more at first five between these two teams. If you play them at first five, let me tell you what that would be. Give me a second here. No. If it tells me here, first five, total first five, money line first five. Here we go. Money line on the first five, you can get Minnesota. It's minus 150, but you could do the minus a half. So if you do the minus a half or half a run, so they just have to be winning by one run in the 5 innings, then that's minus 110. So that's where I would play it. If I were to play anything in this game, I'd play Minnesota first five because of Pablo Lopez and the ways for them to do well against Greinke. But Mr. Hampton, any action on this game? Any leans? Any picks?
So no leans, no picks on this. I agree with you. I typically want to lean a little bit more towards the Twins in this. My thing is going to be, there's a couple things that I think about if I was going to bet on this game is what type of Pablo Lopez are you going to get, right? And then also with Greinke, if he can pitch, do that pitching the contact, keep it pretty close, I do think that the Royals have some pieces there where they can get some runs on the board, right? I mean, they have Pasquantino, Dozier, Salvador Perez. I just think that they have, and I mean, what Junior is going to be playing too. So there's some pieces there that could bring in an offense, which I'm not too hot on the Twins offense. That's my thing. And that's where I come into is just like, are the Twins going to be able to score tomorrow? And so if you're going to look at that game, kind of think about those things. Is it how well is Pablo Lopez going to pitch? And those Royals last year, they were great late inning players. I mean, they scored late inning quite a bit. So it's not, and it is at Kansas City. So those are some thoughts there. Haven't thought about touching anything there yet. So
sure, no, that's fair. We're not always gonna agree on picks, and that's normal. But another thing why I like the first five here with the Twins and why I don't want to play them full game is because of that price, number one. But then I don't have to worry about the bullpens. I don't really love the Twins bullpen. There's a lot of question marks with that bullpen. Emilio Pagan is bad enough to be in a bullpen. So that's why I like first five. And here's another reason why. The only player who's faced Pablo Lopez in this lineup for Kansas City is Hunter Dozier. That's it. No one else in this lineup has seen him. So I do kind of like that. There's no real familiarity with the lineup, with Pablo Lopez from that Kansas City lineup. And then the Twins have seen Greinke a lot. I mean, I'm looking down the list here. Correa has 26 at bats against him. Buxton has 10. Nick Gordon has 11.
Gallo's average.
Yeah, look at Gallo's average. Exactly. 0 for 17. 0 for 17 against Zach Greinke. Good Lord.
Do you think you could go 0 for 17 against Zach Greinke?
and I'm telling you, man, I'll say it again. And if this projected lineup is what they are going to throw out there, I will be shocked because Joey Gallo is projected to bat leadoff. His projected average is 194. His projected on-base percentage is 320. Slug 410. Yeah, 177 strikeouts to 72 walks.
Yeah, that's gross. That's gross. Maybe they'll turn it around, but when I look at that, I mean, how do you go? That means he's never gotten the ball on contact. Not in contact, but that's terrible.
Yeah, that's very bad. You
gotta have something there.
So that is gross, but I do like the Twins' first five. I think that might be a play I get to. A lot of players on this lineup that have faced Greinke, and I like that for the first 5 picks. So that's gonna stay in the loop for that one, because I might end up going back to the Twins here for a first 5 play. But that's it. I wouldn't play the money line for a full game.
And if I was to take anything, I definitely would probably agree with your lean there on that first 5. Like you said, eliminate the bullpens, the late innings where something could go wrong. Just let Pablo Lopez be the one to lead you on that one. So I like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Interesting game. That I can't believe that he's 0 for 17. Hasn't gotten a single hit.
Unbelievable,
That's gross.
Man. It is gross.
You shouldn't be in the major leagues if you can't do that.
Yeah, embarrassing. And the weather looks great in Kansas City tomorrow. It looks like it's going to be sunny and 69. That's awesome. So kind of like St. Louis, good weather day in Kansas City, Missouri for opening day.
It's going to be perfect. All righty. Boy, there's a lot of 3:10 games. Got to get that multi-view out.
It's the middle of the day. So we start out with like 3, and then the middle of the day gets a lot of games. So we'll be packed in for some games around that like 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Central time window.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move to the next one, a National League East matchup between the Mets and the Marlins. These are 2 really good pitchers on the mound here. It's tough to me to go either way. I think the Mets have a pretty solid price for what they are this year. You know, Max Scherzer is on the mound for a good Mets team, and they're only priced at -125. But that's the respect, man, that Sandy Alcantara gets, -105 for the reigning Cy Young Award winner. Yes, the Mets have the better lineup, but Alcantara can keep them in this game. And the Marlins, we know, in my eyes, they have an improved offense. I think they added who is the player I'm thinking of that they added? I need to look at their lineup right now.
Marlins, they added.
I'm blanking. What's that
guy's name?
Luis Arraez.
Luis Arraez. Yep.
The leadoff hitter from Minnesota, who's to swap with Pablo Lopez.
Yep. He's pretty good about it. You look at these averages though, from both sides. Somewhat decent, right? Some of these guys have 300.
And you know what kind of, Mr. Hampton, you know what's really kind of catching my eye now too, and a reason why I like it is because I think a lot of the public's going to be on it. Can you guess? Yeah. Can you guess what I'm leaning toward?
Oh, the over?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I actually have the over in this game. I just looked.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
Dude. Yeah.
6.5.
An alternate. Yeah.
I mean, why not? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually have the over at 8. I went because I found some value there.
I like it.
When you look at this, so these guys aren't going to pitch the full game, right? So that's the way I look at it. You might get, even if they're playing really well, it's too early in the season for both of these guys to pitch a complete game, right? So it's going to have to get into some bullpens. It's going to have to get into some run scoring. And 6, to go over 6 is pretty 6.5 or 6. Yeah.
On DraftKings, I'm seeing 6.5 right now. 6.5 at -115.
Yeah. So that's both sides. You get 3 runs out of both of those teams, and in the 7th run, I can see that. I like it, and that's definitely why I took the over here. But it's those first. If you want like the first 5 innings, I think it could be pretty close. But outside of that, it's going to be. I can see some runs being scored here.
I always tell myself, and I've done it for a couple years now, that if I ever see a total that low, no matter who's pitching, never bet the under, because you just never know. All it takes is 1 inning for that to get blown up. All it takes is one guy in the bullpen to mess it up. So yes, you may like your chances with 2 pitchers on the mound, and I think the public's going to look at this and say, Max Scherzer, Sandy Alcantara, reigning MVP, reigning Cy Young Award winner. Marlins don't have a great lineup. Blah 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 blah. Well, it's opening day. These pitchers aren't going to go full 9 innings. Shouldn't go full 9 innings. I imagine they won't. So I like the over, man. I think this is going to get to my official plays tomorrow. 6.5. I like it.
So like I said, I took the over on this too, and I like your breakdown. And even if you take the over and you get burnt on this earlier in the season, it rarely does. It happens every now and then, but more often than not, you're going to see some runs scored, right? Yeah, I
Yep.
mean these guys can't pitch lights out at the beginning of the season that close, but I like this matchup though. It'll be a fun game.
I think it will too. I think it will be a really fun matchup. I mean, looking at these two teams, I think they're pretty good. Of course, I think the Marlins are the lesser of the team. But let me tell you this too. I just looked at something where I'm seeing like predicted score. I'm looking at a website here. It has Mets and it goes by like it tries to get the total number up and down, but it says Mets 4.4, Marlins 3.5. So if you total that up, calculate it 7.9. Boom.
You're hitting
Oh,
that over.
it's saying it's an over, so I like it. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna make the official card tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at some of these averages. I mean, Jazz Chisholm has, I mean, only 3 at bats, 300. Birdie. I mean, Gene Segura, I keep forgetting that guy still plays, but he has a 300 average against Scherzer. So, I mean, this will be interesting too because I'm a fan of Skip Schumacher. I want to see how he does as a manager. Like, has he prepared this team to be a really good team? We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. I just wrote this down on my card because I need to make sure I get this bet in. I like the over a lot. I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
So give me the over with the Mets and the Marlins at 6.5, depending on what my book's offering, and maybe I don't know if it's gonna change by the time, but I can't imagine it goes up any higher because I think most people are taking the under. And another thing, I don't play these. I don't personally like playing these too much, but I can see this being a very popular nerfy tomorrow because people love playing those things.
Yeah.
And when they see two pitchers like this, they're going to say immediately nerfy.
But you got to think about it though. I mean, yeah, no run first inning, but it's the first inning of the first game, and you never know what could happen right there, right? And you just like Scherzer could go out there shaky. Sandy Alcantara, right? Are we going to get that Cy Young guy for the entire season this year, or is this kind of like sometimes you have those dips, right? After winning a Cy Young, so this will be a good game. Again, another one of those matchups to watch, I think.
Yeah, really fun one. Yeah, I can't wait. All right, let's get into these other games. I got some other ones here listed. This one is the let's see. I think this is the last of the afternoon games here. The Rockies and the Padres is what I got here. Rockies Padres. Looks like this game is at. Let me see what time is it at. Nope, that's a late game.
So you might want to check. They postponed it. Yeah.
Oh, did they? Okay.
I think I got a notification that it's actually been moved to Friday. Let's take a look here.
Even though it's in San Diego?
Yeah, they're supposed to get rain there apparently. I swore I saw somebody because I took something on the Colorado game and then it said it was postponed or something.
Okay. I do see the weather report looking for rain here, so maybe you're right. Yeah. I haven't seen I never saw that, so maybe let me look at it too as we're up here.
Yeah, it was because we want to give these people the best information that we can give them.
Yeah, if they're not playing tomorrow, we don't have to worry about talking about them. But let's see. Tomorrow. It says tomorrow that they're playing. I see it. It says on Thursday, March 30th have been changed to 6:40 Pacific. Okay. So it just got moved
up. It's been moved later. Okay. Or 6:40 or later in the evening.
Wait, March has been changed to 6:40 p.m. Okay, so it did get moved back to later.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's now 8:40. And so, yeah, we're on topic with it. So let's just talk about Rockies Padres. Yeah, this is another one I personally probably will lay off. But if I had to play, definitely not going to back the Padres here. It's too steep of a price for money line, and I don't feel comfortable enough playing 1.5s right now, laying 1.5s at this time. But I kind of like the over here because I think Padres are going to be just that super tough offense no matter who they're playing. They added Xander Bogaerts. They have Juan Soto. They've got Manny Machado. I mean, they've got so many guys up and down that lineup who can hit. So I think they can score some runs, and I even think the Rockies could score some runs against Blake Snell. I know Blake Snell is projected to have a pretty solid season, but still I think the Rockies have not a great team, not a great offense, but I think they have enough pieces on the offensive side who can score some runs in this first matchup against San Diego. There's some players in that lineup who have some success against them. If you look down that lineup, if you can see it, I'm just looking at it.
Chrome.
Daza. I know Chris Bryant is projected to play tomorrow. Who knows if he's going to get hurt in the first game? So,
yeah. No, I actually took the over in this game because number one, I just don't trust Jermaine Marquez anymore. He'll throw a good game out there anymore every now and then, but he's kind of done as a pitcher, I think, in my opinion. And Blake Snell, I remember watching a couple Rockies Padres games last year where they got to him. So I like the over here. They're postponing the game so there's no rain, right? Moving it back a little bit. And then you have that San Diego offense, which is, I think tomorrow they want them to put on a show, right? I mean, they literally spent a boatload of money, and I think they want to show fans that it was good money, well spent. So,
yeah. I like the over to this game. This is a lean for me right now, but over 8 runs, I think that's a pretty good number you're getting with these two teams, especially because the Rockies, Jermaine Marquez, not a great pitcher, but even worse bullpen this Rockies team has.
Gosh.
Just looking at it here, I'm on their bowl projections and stats for the 2023 season. I'm gonna read off a couple of names for you, then I'll give you their expected ERAs. So Daniel Bard, who is their closer, is projected for a 4.35 ERA. Pierce Johnson is projected for a 4.42 ERA. Lamet, the former Padre, is on there projected for a 4.5. Brent Suter, 4.91. Justin Lawrence, 4.75. Brad Hand, if we all remember Brad Hand.
Oh my gosh.
5.7 ERA. There's nobody in this bullpen projected to be under 4 ERA from everything I'm looking at right now. So, yeah, if you get Jermaine Marquez out of the game and he's already done enough for you, you got to feel good about that bullpen who comes in and may do even worse. So that's why I would lean toward the over. I would not feel comfortable backing a lot of unders this year with the Rockies with that kind of bullpen. Yeah, yikes.
No, that's a bullpen of people who are depressed that they're still playing the game, because that is sad. Brad Hand on that team, oh, that's gross. No, but
yeah.
you know what? I like that. There's parts of that Rockies offense that I think people will need to look at, and like the I don't know, the Montero, third baseman. I actually think this kid is going to be pretty decent too. So he has only 2 at bats against Snell, but he can hit the hell out of the ball. And then you have a couple pieces there. So I can see some runs being scored here. This will be a good game for if you want to get the over. So
for sure, man. Yeah. I agree. All right,
gosh, that is gross. The Rockies, they haven't put any money in their team. They really don't.
Man, and just to think Nolan Arenado was wasting his career there all that time.
Gosh,
just terrible.
And we basically fleeced them with none of their. I think Montero and Gomber are really the only pieces that are still left from that trade there. So, yeah, gross,
disgusting. I agree. All right, let's move to the next game. Let's go to the White Sox and the Astros. This is an interesting game too. We all know about their Astros. They're still really good, reigning champions in Houston. We've got a good pitching matchup. I think we all can agree Dylan Cease is the White Sox best pitcher. He's going up against Framber Valdez, 2 really good pitchers in the American League, 2 pitchers who I expect to be the best in the American League all season long. I got nothing. Again, this is another one that I think I'll probably just sit back and watch. I don't really want to play this game because I think the Astros should win. But anytime you got a guy like Dylan Cease on the mound, I think he has a chance to shut down a lineup. And so, especially this early in the season, I don't really want to mess with a game against him. The over/under sits at 7.5. Houston's priced at -155. But I don't really like this White Sox team. I think we talked about them in our spaces this already. We've already talked about them multiple times. They lost Jose Abreu. I mean, that's a big loss for a team who was already struggling
Let him
enough to
walk.
score. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I said this too. They basically replaced Jose Abreu at the number 3 hole and then as a number 3 hitter for Andrew Benintendi. He's projected to be their number 3 hitter. Yeah.
That's it.
So
That's who they replaced him with. And the other thing I look at, and again, I didn't watch much spring, but I look at Eloy Jimenez and Mancada and Roberts, right? And I think they played in the World Baseball Classic. I don't think like very quiet baseball classics for those three players, if I'm remembering this right. So, um, yeah, again, I'm not a huge fan of the White Sox offense. I think the chance for them to peak was last year, and now it's just this is the now they're just this is the decline. You're not going to see too many great things out of this. So, um,
yeah.
I actually think this is going to be a low scoring game, though. I think the Astros. I think Cease will hold the Astros for quite a bit. I think Framber Valdez will do the same, and then I do like the Astros. Kind of their bullpen too is pretty good. So um, I think this is going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah, I can see that. I
Yeah,
just don't have confidence back in the White Sox, and like you said,
yeah,
they Mancada. I'm kind of done with Mancada. I thought he was going to be a good player, but I think he was way overrated, and I don't think he's ever going to be the kind of player many thought he was.
yeah, yeah. Mancada not really there. I mean, Eloy Jimenez and Roberts. They can Luis Roberts. They can do stuff, but even them, they are not as big as everyone thought they were going to be. So and then you pair that in there with what they've created for their offense. Like I, Elvis Andrus is there. The only person that I think is Tim Anderson, but he doesn't even have doesn't have good numbers against Valdez. So yeah, I'm not a fan. I did take first the run first inning. So someone will score a run in the first
Okay,
inning. Don't know who, but
all right,
yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
Okay, good stuff there. White Sox, Astros. Let's move to the last 3 games of the night. We're moving more toward the West Coast, where we will see some late night baseball, 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 7 Pacific, all your local times. Angels Athletics. This one's interesting. I mean, Shohei Otani's on the mound. He should mow down this AAA, AA lineup, whatever you want to call them. Playing the Oakland Athletics. Again, another game I don't really want much to do with because I don't like the Athletics. And it's a very steep price to pay with the Angels. And unless you really just think the Angels are going to win, I think they're worth playing like at alternate lines. Play them at
Yeah.
-2. -2, you can get them at even money. -2.5 at +130. So if you feel comfortable enough backing the Angels, maybe play them on a couple alternate lines there. But if I had to play something here, I can't find it. I don't know, Mr. Hampton, if you have any idea what it might be, but I'm kind of interested in a team total over for the Angels here. I imagine it's probably around 4.5, and
Yeah.
they will bat all 9 innings in this game, which I love. They won't have to play, a home game where they don't maybe bat in the 9th inning if they're winning. So they will be guaranteed to bat all 9 innings. And so I'm kind of interested in a team total. I haven't found it yet, but if you know
Yeah.
of one,
Just looking. I
do
was
you see
looking
anything yet?
myself. No. Again, I'm going through DraftKings as well, but in this I have yes run first inning, and then I have the over, and it's
Awesome.
because of the Athletics pitcher and the Angels offense, right? I've never heard of this guy. Don't even know who he is. He might be their best. I mean, I guess he is their best pitcher, but you're throwing him up against the Los Angeles Angels here. Add Otani. I'm going to go again. I see a better offense here, and you look at the numbers for what offense the Oakland Athletics have against Otani, and it's gross. It's I mean, they've only had there's one player who has a 250 average over 8 at bats, nothing there. So I think if you're going to play anything, play alternate run line or look more into the overs department. I'll look here for that team total while you
Uh,
talk here
I
and see
found
if
it.
you can.
I
Oh,
actually
did
found it. Yeah. So currently I'm looking at Bovada total team over under for the Angels for 4 runs is -120, and for 4.5 is +115. I think that might be worth a look. I mean,
yeah,
this is an
I like
Angels
it.
team who is improved. They have Shohei
Yeah.
Ohtani that will be hitting with them. They've got Mike Trout. They added Hunter Renfroe,
Drury,
Brendan
Hunter
Drury.
Renfro.
Yep. So there is some notable hitters in this lineup, and another guy who I'm pretty high on this season actually is their leadoff hitter Taylor Ward. I think he's going to have a nice little season. He gets on base a lot, and his
Yeah,
OPS is projected at 815. Yeah, I like this team total over. I'm leaning more toward that the more I look at it. And the other thing I love about this is they will bat all 9 times, all nine
yeah,
innings. As I've said, that's something you like to look at in these games. Is if a home team is playing a bad team, sometimes that might give you a little concern because it's possible if they win that game, then they're only going to bat for the 8 innings they play. So you're guaranteed for them to bat 9 innings here. And I think there's a lot of excitement around this Angels team, especially on the offensive side. So I'm strongly leaning team total over 4 or 4.5, whatever I feel like playing for this game.
yeah. I actually like how you broke that down. Number one, and thought about the team total. I didn't even think about it against this off. I mean, against the Athletics. So I like that lean quite a bit. And I also like what you're saying here too. I mean, they're going to get, and this is a tip for people betting in baseball. You want to look for those teams that are going to be able to bat those full 9 innings, right? If you're going to be looking at totals in any regard. So some good information there. Yeah, I mean that Angels offense is. I'm interested to see how it is. If it flops, that's embarrassing because they have some good pieces there.
Yeah, it would be really disappointing to see this team flop again. I mean, I've always been ripping the Angels for how they can't figure out how to make the playoffs with Mike Trout, but if they can't do it this year with Otani and Trout at their level of play and these other additions that they made, I mean, just shut
Just
the
sell them to me.
organization down. Yeah,
Yeah.
just get rid of everybody.
Yeah, because I mean, even there, I mean, Ward or Shella. I would kind of. It's interesting that you think that Ward's going to do well because you know, I was thinking, hey, he had a great. I mean, start to last year. I think he got injured. He was out for quite a bit, but I was wondering if that was going to translate into year two, how that was going to translate into year two. So definitely going to keep my eye on that kid.
Yeah, for sure. All
All
right, good
right.
stuff there. Lean to the Angels team total over 4 or 4.5. I'll see how I feel
Yeah.
as I look more into it.
And I took the over in that game as well.
Over in
So,
that game. Yep.
yep.
Awesome. All right, let's move to the National League West matchup between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. Dodgers, a lot of the same people, but they made some changes. They won't have Trey Turner. They're going to be missing Walker Buehler for this year. They added Noah Syndergaard and Jason Hayward, if you guys remember him. Can't believe they added those
And,
2 guys.
that guy from Anthony Reyes or whatever from the
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals, if he's not hurt
Yeah, if he's
already.
not hurt. Exactly. Yeah, so this is another one. I mean, 2 teams who I think Dodgers are the much better team. Obviously, Julio Urias is their pitcher, but what's interesting to me is for how good and how much better this Dodgers team should be than the Diamondbacks. They're only -165 tomorrow. I think that's a little interesting to me, and I
It
think that's
is.
kind of saying something about how good the Diamondbacks might be or how much they're respecting Zach Gallen as the pitcher for the Diamondbacks. But I know there's a lot of excitement for this young and up and coming Diamondbacks team. They have Corbin Carroll, a Rookie of the Year candidate. They added Lourdes Gurriel. They've got some solid pieces in the lineup already with Ketel Marte, Christian Walker. I mean, there is some solid pieces on this team. For the first game, I wouldn't hate playing the Diamondbacks. I don't know if I'll get there with them, but the line is definitely saying something with them being only -165, the Dodgers. Do you have any action on this game, Mr. Hampton?
So this is another one of Hampton's overs because I see some runs being scored here. I took the over, and I like what you're saying here because I think this is a game the Diamondbacks can squeak a win out of, right? Yes, the Dodgers have all these, a decent offensive lineup, but I I think that I don't think it's that amazing. I mean, it's not that lights out compared to what the Diamondbacks will be bringing tomorrow, right? And then there's the pitching. So, um, yeah, I see this being an over. I see this being a close game. I would be even willing to say. I mean, I would not discourage people from tickling a a win, a money line win, or even if you want to do run line out of the Diamondbacks. I think that's very possible here.
I think that's actually worth a good shot too. Yeah, and I like your overplay actually. I didn't really look into the over much when breaking down this game myself, but man, the more I look at it, I think with Julio Urias, he's
Yeah.
obviously a good pitcher, but I think he's prone to give up some runs, and this will be his first start. And then of course you got Zach Gallen, who didn't have the strongest spring, and this goes back to what I said earlier, man. These pitchers
Yep.
sometimes need more time to build up, and they're not going to be as effective right away than many people want them to be. So that's why in a lot of these games, you're seeing a lot of these low totals. Maybe take advantage of that. I mean, I know people want to see they see the starting pitching right away and they're saying, okay, these are going to be low scoring games, yada yada yada. That doesn't always mean they're going to be low scoring games. This is opening day. This is very new. Pitchers are still building up. So I like to look for the overplay too. I think the Diamondbacks can score some runs, and I think the Dodgers obviously can put up some runs in this game too.
Yep. And again, it just comes back into that thing. It's like these guys, Gallen and Urias, good pitchers. They can't pitch the whole game. They can't right now, and I think it'd be stupid for anybody to make them pitch the whole game right now at the first
Yep.
part of the season. So get into those bullpens, maybe get some more runs. Again, I think that both of these teams have the ability to score, put some runs up. So
I see a projected line set at, let's see, I just had it up 4.8 to 3.5. Yep, 8.3 runs they have this game be going over then. So,
interesting.
yep.
And this is this Odd Shark? Or what are they saying in terms of like
Yeah.
the kind of the runs scored between both teams? How are they seeing that being close or what lopsided? They typically bring it close, but
Yeah, it says predicted score Dodgers 4.8, Arizona 3.5. Yep.
I'm just saying that's pretty darn close to me. That's
Yep.
it can go flip flop either way on that one.
Oh so. Yeah. Yep. So good stuff there. Let's talk about the last game. The last game of the night. This is actually another one that is very tough. Two teams who are going to be competitive in the American League this year. Two teams who are expected to make the playoffs. I do expect the Guardians to make it because of how good their pitching is, and I think they have an MVP candidate in Jose Ramirez. Vice versa, I think the Mariners' pitching rotation is really good, and of course the sophomore stud in Julio Rodriguez. This one was tough to me, though. I don't really have anything in this game. I haven't got there with anything. I think this, again, is one of those enjoy the game, watch it, because these are two really good teams, two really good pitchers, Shane Bieber against Luis Castillo. So I got nothing here. The line's kind of telling you it's more of closer to a pick 'em. Seattle's minus 120 with Cleveland giving even money. Yeah, I got really nothing in this game. These are two really good bullpens too. Cleveland's got a good bullpen, same as Seattle. But any action for you on this one, Mr. Hampton?
I don't have any action. And again, I was looking at this and I think the same thing as you. This is a fun matchup. Two really good pitchers, two offenses that I think are capable of putting up runs. More so on the Seattle side, but this is a hard one to take. I mean, I think if I was going to, I'd kind of lean a little bit more on the Cleveland side, and the reason why I'm saying that is I think that Cleveland, some of these players have seen Luis Castillo before because, I mean, he was on the Cincinnati Reds last year, and so they got to see him quite a bit. Um, but again, it's two really good pitching matchups. Both of them have good bullpens. Yeah, you. I would have to. Well, this might be something I might need to take some more time to look at if I was going to bet later in the day. But I might just watch it. It's a good game.
Yeah, this one to me is just is a coin flip. I don't really see an advantage for either team.
No.
Two strong starting pitchers, two pretty similar offenses, maybe a slight edge to Seattle, but yeah, I got nothing here. I'm probably going to lay off this game. I think there's just other games that you can find better plays in,
Yeah.
and this is one of those that you just sit back, relax, and enjoy one of those last games of the evening. And hopefully by that time you're counting your money on a good positive day because it's opening day and we're trying to make some money. More importantly,
make those pockets deep.
Deep pockets, yes. We are trying to make some deep pockets here to start opening day and the MLB season.
Yes, it is. I'm excited. I mean, 7 months of this, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, and this is the first day, and these are the type of games that they're rolling out there. So I mean, you gotta watch some of these games tomorrow if you're not. I mean, if just to watch, you don't even have to bet.
No, and that's what I'm saying, man. We just broke down for you every single game on opening day, and we're gonna keep doing this every single day. Well, we're gonna try to do it every day. I know there's gonna be days where we're busy and can't get out there and do this stuff, but we're gonna try to be here every day, even if we can only do it for a few minutes and break down only a couple things, not every game. But that's what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna try to bring you some content. We're gonna try to post some videos of what we like in our day for those certain bets. And so we kicked it off with a huge slate of games tomorrow. This is a huge slate from tomorrow starting at, let's see, I had all the times pulled up here. 1 Eastern, I believe.
1 Eastern, 12 o'clock Central, 12:05 Central, if you want to. All the way up until all the way up until 10 p.m. Eastern. Think about that. I mean, that's a solid day.
Yes,
that game probably some of those games won't end until midnight.
Midnight, yeah, close to midnight. Yep.
Yeah, 12 hours.
Yeah, we are, according to the countdown here that I'm looking at, we are exactly 12 hours, 29 minutes, and 48 seconds away from the first pitch of the 2023 MLB Opening Day. I'm pumped.
I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
I got MLB TV. Hoping, I'm going to see if I can find a way to get Bally Sports, hoping that they go bankrupt so I can. But
we'll talk off air about that one.
Oh, yeah.
Bally Sports.
Yep.
But okay, I think we broke down enough for the audience, so we will be officially posting our plays, and if you want to, we will be doing a spaces before all these games to give the official plays tomorrow. So be on the alert. I'll be posting a time for when spaces will be on Twitter. If you want to check it out, if you want to share a favorite pick, feel free to jump in and let us know. But thank you to everyone who listened to this. I know a lot of this audience will probably be replays because we haven't had as much of a live audience yet, but feel free to jump in and watch this anytime you want. It'll be right here on the page. Mr. Hampton, thank you for joining us. Before we leave, though, any closing thoughts on this before we leave?
I mean, this is baseball is one of the fun things to bet. Like I think we've talked about it tonight. You know, this is just day one. You don't have to bet everything tomorrow. Make the smart decisions. Utilize what we've given you here tonight. All right, you will make money tomorrow if you make these smart decisions because there's some great games out there. So get excited, baby. Baseball's back.
Baseball is back. We are ready. We are going, and we will be hopefully making some deep pockets this season as it goes along for 7 months if you expect your team to get all the way. So thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you to my co-host tonight, Mr. Hampton, for joining us and breaking down some of these games. We'll be back here again for the next couple days. Enjoy baseball. Enjoy the season. And, of course, have a great rest of your day whenever you're watching this and wherever you're watching this from. Have a good one.
Yep. So, get those future bets in.